Help me reach 7,000 subscribers. Please like the video and share your thoughts in the comments. Your feedback helps make the content better. She leaned in the kitchen doorway like she was clocking out of a shift that hadn't even started. Is it cool if I hit Paige's thing tonight? Just a little get-together. Thought we were doing tacos and a movie. I reminded her, pulling chicken from the oven. I know, but everyone's going. Paige said it'll be fun. I haven't seen people in forever. She checked her phone and smiled at nothing I could see. We could be people, I offered. I've got the grill, cold drinks, 2 hours with your favorite show that I pretend to like. She didn't laugh. It's just, it'll be more interesting there. That sentence hung over the pan like steam. I closed the oven, turned off the burner, and nodded. Go ahead. You're not mad. I don't hold adults hostage, I said. Just text when you're heading back. She grabbed a jacket, tossed me a smile I'd seen on a cashier at Christmas, and left. I stood there with enough food for 2 and enough silence for 4. If I'd understood how far that one sentence would travel, I would have buckled my seatbelt right there. I packed the tacos in containers, labeled one, tomorrow, and ate alone at the counter. I'm a project manager, my brain catalogs. I've carried the house note, her grad school tuition, most of the groceries, the car insurance. She's been saving for safety, as she calls it. I didn't fight that. I figured every couple needs oxygen masks. But more interesting there, rang like a fire alarm you hear, but can't find. When she came back, close to midnight, I was finishing emails for the morning. She kicked off her shoes like the floor owed her something. How was it? I asked without turning from the spreadsheet. Fun. She poured water. We were laughing about our 20s. You know, stupid adventures. Uh-huh. She leaned on the counter. Paige said she envies my stability. I told her I sometimes think I jumped into marriage too young. Not a big deal. I set the laptop down. You told her that? It was a joke, she added fast. God, don't be dramatic. I'm not dramatic. I'm keeping minutes. That's one. One what? Loose remarks that cut the marriage and I'm supposed to ignore. She rolled her eyes. It was nothing, Daniel. Good, I said. Because tomorrow I'm changing a couple things. We'll streamline. What does that even mean? Money, time, priorities. If there is more interesting, I'm not competing with there. We split discretionary spending. Date nights are planned, not assumed. If you want space, you'll have it. You're punishing me. No, I replied. I'm matching the energy. Adults make choices. Choices adjust the calendar. She stared at me like I'd stood up in a quiet theater. This is over one comment. It's over a pattern and you know it, I said, and I shut the laptop. She laughed, but it didn't land anywhere. Fine. Do whatever you need. Noted. I slept well. Containment calms me. My first initiative landed Monday morning. I moved our shared credit card off autopay for her extras. House bills still with me. Her personal spend, hers. I sent her a simple note. We're splitting non-essentials 50-50 starting today. I'll share a budget sheet. Clear beats guesswork. She texted back. So spreadsheets instead of talking? Spreadsheets are talking without the fog, I returned. That week we had a cookout at our neighbors, the Ellisons. Jake's the kind of guy who lowballs everything. Lawn height, beer temperature, life expectations. There were kids chalking the pavement, women around the patio table, guys orbiting a grill like a campfire. I brought coleslaw and kept to the smoke. I heard her before I looked up. It's funny, she told the women. I feel like I missed my 20s doing responsible stuff. Everyone else was traveling or, I don't know, experimenting with life. I went straight into domesticity. A couple polite laughs. One woman said, "You're still young." Exactly, my wife pushed. Sometimes I think I'm married before I really knew myself. Jake, no filter, called over, "Hey Dan, you hear that? You trapped her too early." I didn't smile. I took the tongs, handed them back to Jake, and walked over to the patio table. Since we're sharing, I said, I'd like to clarify something. If you ever feel like you missed out, you have full permission to explore. No one's holding you. But don't reframe our home as a mistake within earshot of our neighbors. From here on, if you want to talk about our marriage, you talk to me. Not a circle. Not a picnic. Me. The table went quiet. A kid laughed at a different joke somewhere else, and that sound filled the pause. My wife blinked. I was joking. Relax. Then joke about something you own alone, I replied. Not both of us. One of the women put a hand on my wife's forearm. We've all said dumb things. It's fine. Agreed, I said. And we fixed dumb things. So we're going to head out. I nodded to Jake. Steaks are perfect. Thanks. On the walk home, she was a cold front. That was humiliating, she said. For me too, I answered. That's why I ended it. You made it worse. I showed a boundary. If you keep stepping on it, I'll keep moving my time away from your stage. She stopped on the sidewalk. So you're what? Leaving me? No. I'm shifting. You want single freedom with married support. That package is discontinued. She scoffed and started walking again. You make everything transactional, she muttered. I make it clear. We spent the rest of the weekend quiet. Monday, the budget sheet hit her inbox. She ignored it. I didn't chase. The first soft turn came 3 days later. She showed up at my office near lunch with takeout and a folded note. Angela at reception raised an eyebrow. Angela is the kind of woman who says what everyone else pretends they didn't think. She's here with food, Angela announced, like a news anchor. My wife breezed in. Truce, she said, set a salad on my desk, kissed my cheek like we hadn't been keeping score. I was out of line at Jake's. Let me make it up to you. I looked at the salad, then at her. Apology accepted. Make it up by using your words where they matter. I just did, she said, opening cutlery. Use them next time with the people you entertained. I paused and checked the budget sheet. She deflated just a little. Can we not do this at your job? You're the one who brought the job lunch, I said lightly. I'm glad you're here. She touched my shoulder. I miss us. I like us, I answered. I don't like the show. Her face softened, and for a minute I believed the shift. We ate. She asked about a project. I told her the short version. She laughed at the right parts. When she left, Angela leaned in the doorway. You too good? She asked. We're steady until the next improv class, I said. Man, I hope not, Angela replied. You're decent people. Decent people shouldn't be exhausting. I'll put that on a coffee mug, I said. 2 hours later, my wife texted a screenshot of her transfer to the split account. Little heart emoji. I didn't respond with a heart. I sent a thumbs up. I am a simple man. I reward behavior, not tone. That weekend, she asked, would you come to my grad program's alumni dinner next Friday? Everyone will be there. Sure, I said. Do you want a partner or a prop? She rolled her eyes, but she smiled. Partner. I made a note. We'll see. The restaurant was one of those places with dim lighting and an open kitchen where chefs move like athletes. Her cohort took over 2 tables. I recognized faces from her stories. Sierra, the peppy one, Nathan, the charming serial seminar star, and Cassie, who once sent my wife a late-night "miss our talks" text during their capstone. I logged that memory and never used it. We were doing small talk when Sierra asked, so are you two thinking kids soon? Or is that off the table with everything going on? What's everything going on? I asked. Sierra laughed like she'd stepped into traffic. I mean life. Careers. My wife jumped in. We're not in a rush. Honestly, she added, turning to the table with the half smirk I'd seen since that cookout. I got married too early. Sierra nodded emphatically. Cassie sipped her drink. Nathan let out a sympathetic My fork hit the plate gently. I looked at my wife. Never too late to correct a mistake, I said. I signaled the server, handed him my card. We're covered. Have a good night. She blinked, stunned. You're leaving? I don't sit through panels where I'm the topic, I said to her and anyone listening. The server ran the card. I signed, stood, and put my jacket on. Text me if you want to talk like teammates. Cassie said, Dan, it was just a pattern. I finished. Take care. I walked out. The air had that early fall bite that keeps you honest. I got in my truck, sat a minute, and placed a call to my brother, Mike. You free? I asked. For you always, he said. He's a contractor, hands like tools, brain like a ledger. What's up? I'm coming over, I told him. 10 minutes later, I was in his garage. He had a college game on a dusty TV, lights bright enough to do surgery. He handed me a bottle of water like it was a peace offering. You look like you swallowed a light bulb, he said. She told the table I married her too early. First time, I called it. Second time, I adjusted the budget. Third time, I paid the check and left. Good, he said. You done? I'm done letting it float, I answered. I pulled out my phone, opened a note. I've got dates and places. 14 instances the last 18 months. I scrolled. Cookout comment. Missed my 20s at Pages. Snark at Thanksgiving, remember? We rushed into this. Then 3 times to her mom. Twice at girls' nights. One at my work barbecue. She told Angela she doesn't know if she chose the right person. Alumni dinner, tonight. And there's the grad school thing. The late-night text girl? They were mentally close. That's her phrase. She shared passages, private fears. He did the same. She swears it was only words. I stored it under context. Mike set the water down. What you going to do? I've been consulting a lawyer. Quietly. No courtroom games, just clean lines. I'm not doing theater. Tonight I pack a bag and go to a short-term place. I'm also taking my name off anything that makes me responsible for her lifestyle. I'll leave the house covered. Beyond that, she lives her choices. And you tell her when? Now, I said. She'll spin it, he warned. I'm not in the spin class. He nodded. Need help moving? I packed a go bag last week. I'll be out in an hour. He peeled off his work gloves. Good. I'm proud of you. Don't be proud. Be available, I said, but I smiled. Always, he repeated. On my way out of the garage, he called. Want me there when you tell her? No, I said. She'll make it a show. I prefer a memo with a signature. I drove home. She wasn't there yet. Efficient living helps. I grabbed the duffel from the closet, laptop bag, a folder with copies of the budget split, and a letter from the attorney I'd consulted. Nothing dramatic, just an outline of separation steps. I set my house key on the counter and another key on top, the key to the account where my salary used to land in full. Not anymore. She came in 10 minutes later, cheeks bright from that room's approval. I can't believe you walked out, she started, smoke still in her voice. I sat at the table, notes in front of me. Sit, I said. We're doing this once. I'm not in the mood for another spreadsheet briefing. I tipped the phone to face her. 14 moments in 18 months where you sold our marriage to whoever was buying. House parties, family dinners, your friends, my coworkers. Tonight makes 15. Add the grad school emotional closeness with Nathan. Yes, I know who he is, and here we are. I'm not angry. I'm finished. You're taking that thing with Nathan wildly out of context. I never took it anywhere, I replied. You brought it into our living room with your phone light. I'm not dragging you. I'm exiting. She folded her arms. You're blowing up our life over feelings. I'm building a new one over facts. I've already talked to a lawyer. I'm moving out tonight. I slid the folder across. This outlines a clean, quiet separation path. No theater. Mediation if you want to sort logistics like adults. My finances are separate effective last week. I'll cover the house while we plan a transition. I am not your enemy, but I am not your sponsor for single experiments. Her mouth opened and then closed. She looked at the keys. You're serious? This is the most serious I've been, I answered. You said marriage came too early. You can have your years back. I'm not holding you. You're punishing me because I said something honest. You're getting exactly what you said you wanted. A life not managed by a husband you aren't sure you even picked right. She almost laughed, but there was no air. You think you're so calm. This is cruel. Cruel is saying I'm an anchor in public and expecting me to row in private. This is clean. What am I supposed to tell people? The truth, I said. That you wanted freedom. I gave it to you. She grabbed the letter and scanned it like a bill she didn't want to pay. You had this ready. I didn't want to need it, I said. But I learned to be on time. Where are you going? A short-term rental for now, I said. You'll get the address from my email. We'll communicate by email for anything legal or logistical. For personal stuff, there isn't any. She looked at my bag. You're really walking out. I'm removing myself from a place where I'm not respected. You can have the audience. I'll keep my dignity. You're going to regret this, she said. I regret giving you so many chances to fix what you kept performing, I replied. Lock up when you leave. I carried my bag to the truck, shut the door, and eased away from my own driveway like I was leaving a job on my last day. No hugs at the door. No second talk. One conversation, one exit. She called twice the next day. I didn't pick up. I emailed, legal and logistics only by email. She replied with a block of text describing her fear, childhood, and my lack of empathy. She ended with, I was just scared of missing life. I wrote back, then you should go live it. 2 days of silence. Then her second soft turn arrived. Flowers to my rental. A bag of my favorite coffee hanging on the door. A note. I want to fix this. Dinner? Just us. No pressure. I agreed to meet at a neutral place. A diner near my office with plastic menus and a waitress who remembers your drink. I chose noon. I sat with my back to the wall. She came in dressed like she was meeting a board. She smiled at the waitress, slid into the booth. I've been thinking a lot, she started. I'm sorry for how I spoke about us. I got swept up. It's like, I kept trying to test if I could still choose, you know? I understand the sentence, I said. I can do better. I'll set boundaries with friends. I'll stop sharing anything outside us. I'll go to counseling. I'll call my mom and correct what I said. I'll tell Paige to mind her business. I'll shut down Sierra. Whatever you want. I don't want a PR campaign, I replied. I want respect that doesn't need a memo. You're not giving me a chance, she said. You already decided. I decided to stop standing in traffic, I answered. Mediation is next week. Let's use it. We don't have to go straight to paperwork, she tried. We can reset and try again. Clean slate. You want a clean slate? I asked. Then stop holding me to your old story and start respecting the man who covered your rent and bought your textbooks and still listens without yelling. But here's the catch. I can't teach you to respect me. Either you do or you don't. She breathed out through her nose, frustrated. Everyone has doubts. It doesn't mean they're done. Doubts spoken privately are one thing. Reframing our marriage as a mistake on group nights is another. You're punishing me for being honest. You're confusing honesty with a stage, I said. Our business is not a showcase. She reached across the table and tapped the back of my hand. Please, Daniel. I'll fix it. Fix you, I said. I'm not your project. The waitress set down our check without asking. I paid for mine. She watched like she was trying to see if I'd blink. I didn't. On the sidewalk, she caught my sleeve. Are you seeing someone? She asked. No, I replied. I'm seeing myself for the first time in a year and a half. She nodded as if that had been a reasonable answer on a test. I hate this. I hate that we arrived here, I said. But here we are. I walked back to work and scheduled the process server. Clean lines require clean steps. Papers were served 2 days later. Not dramatic, just a knock at her door and a man doing his job. She called me immediately. I let it go to voicemail. Then came the angry paragraph. Then the quiet paragraph. Then a picture of a meal she cooked for one with the caption, "This is what I deserve." I didn't respond. I'd already told her the channel. Email for logistics. Mediation opened in a generic office with a neutral carpet and a whiteboard nobody uses. The mediator was a calm woman in her 50s with a patient smile that said she'd seen every version of us already. We sat across a table with water bottles like a peace conference. Ground rules, the mediator began. We speak one at a time, and we focus on solutions, not stories. My wife jumped in. My story matters. It does, the mediator said. But the story hour isn't today. I nodded. Perfect. We went line by line. House costs, her savings, my retirement, the car and her name on my insurance. I brought documents. She brought feelings. I wasn't rude. I was precise. You're acting like I'm a stranger, she said. You taught me how to act, I replied. At one point she said, he's doing this because I said one sentence at dinner. I looked at the mediator. I have a list. I passed her a printed sheet with the 14 entries and dates. The mediator scanned it, nodded, and slid it back. You kept notes? My wife asked, offended. I manage projects, I said. When things go off schedule, we backtrack. You kept repeating public doubts. I drew a map. You could have told me it bothered you. I did, starting at the Ellisons. And after, you kept going. I was scared of losing myself, she said quietly. I wanted independence. I didn't want to wake up at 40 and feel I missed everything. The mediator wrote, independence, on her pad. What does independence look like to you? She asked my wife. I guess, freedom to go places, see friends, maybe travel without feeling checked. I didn't look at the mediator. I addressed my wife. You're free now? No checks. She stared back. You're enjoying this. I'm making sure we both understand reality. We set temporary arrangements for the house. I agreed to cover the mortgage for 3 months while she shifted. That wasn't generosity. That was structure. She asked if we could still do occasional dinners to stay connected while we think. The mediator looked at me. No, I said. I don't do halfway. My wife folded into the chair. So that's it. That's it, I replied. We signed what needed signing. In the hallway, Sierra was waiting, apparently emotional support. She widened her eyes at me like I'd unplugged the sun. You didn't need to be so cold, Sierra said. I adjusted my watch. Tell her to stop selling life insurance to women who never asked for it, I said. And tell yourself that not all attention is medicine. Sierra scoffed. You think you're wise now. No, I said. I'm just finished. My wife watched Sierra, then looked back at me. I didn't think you'd really do it, she said. You held the rope and kept saying maybe, I answered. I let go. She whispered. What if I actually grow up? I hope you do, I said. I won't be here to collect the proof. I left the building into a bright afternoon that didn't care who we thought we were. The last round was the logistics of leaving the house to her until sale. I came by once with Mike to grab tools from the garage and the few books I left. She hovered in the entryway like a host waiting for guests who wouldn't arrive. Can we talk 5 minutes? She asked. I checked my watch. 4. She swallowed. I told my mom the truth. I told Paige I was wrong. I told Sierra she's not my advisor. I blocked Nathan after he reached out when he heard. I wanted you to know. Thank you, I said. That work will help you later. It could help us, she pressed. I'm not a rehab program. Mike came from the garage with a box. He didn't speak. He's learned silence that isn't surrender. He set the box in the truck and went back in. I keep thinking about that night at the restaurant, she said. You paid and left. Everyone admired me for speaking my truth. I liked it. I watched you go and thought, he won't really let me hang there. He'll come back and fight for me. I did fight, I said. I fought by telling the truth quietly when it counted. I fought by moving out instead of moving in circles. She walked to the porch railing and touched the weathered wood. You were always the adult. You're capable of that too, I answered. You just preferred a mirror. She turned to me. I miss you. I liked us, I said. I didn't like what you liked more. Mike returned with the last box. All set, he said. I nodded. Turn off the lights when you leave, I told her. Electricity's still in my name for 2 more months. She winced. That's not funny. It's practical. I got in the truck. She stood there, small against our house. I didn't wave. I don't do encore scenes. That night, I changed the last of my autopays. I forwarded my mail. I set my alarm without wondering if someone else needed it. Angela asked at work if I was okay. Better than okay, I said. I'm consistent. Consistent's underrated, she said. So is sleep. I slept, and it took. The paperwork wound down the way sand runs out of an hourglass. Inevitable, boring, final. We divided things without fireworks. She kept her savings. I kept my peace. The house sold on schedule. We split proceeds by a fair formula the mediator confirmed. She wanted to keep a couple pieces of furniture. I didn't care. I like simple rooms. When it was done, she texted, "Can we meet?" Just to say goodbye properly. I typed. We said goodbye 15 times. We meant it once. She left a voicemail crying. I didn't listen more than 3 seconds. Not punishment. Protection. 2 months later, I signed for a small townhouse with a view of trees instead of neighbors' living rooms. I upgraded my truck because I'd wanted to for years and hadn't. Mike and I built a bench for the entryway on a Saturday. He told me my face looked different. Like you took off a heavy jacket, he said. I started running with Jake. Yeah, that Jake. He apologized for the cookout joke. I was dumb, he admitted. I thought teasing was harmless. Teasing makes dents, I said. We're good. Angela introduced me to her friend Dana, a physical therapist with a dry wit and a schedule tighter than mine. We got coffee at a place with bad art and honest muffins. She asked what happened with my marriage. I told her the 2-minute version: public doubt, quiet boundaries, clean exit. She nodded like she collects stories for a living. Respect is oxygen, she said. No one negotiates oxygen. We started seeing each other on Thursdays and Sundays. Grown-up cadence. No scripts. She never made me a prop. I never made her a promise I couldn't keep. Every few weeks, someone I knew sent me a screenshot of my ex's posts. She was out with friends a lot, different circles, lots of laughter. One caption read, "Finding myself." Another, "Independent again." Then the post slowed. Then there were shots of her alone with a book and a tea. I didn't gloat. I don't live there. Paige ran into Angela at a farmer's market and made sure the message got to me. She says she messed up and lost the best man she'll ever have. Angela told me over coffee. I stirred mine. Maybe, I said, but I'm not in her math class. A year in, my days are straightforward. Work hard, lift heavy, cook simple, laugh with people who don't need an audience to feel real. Dana and I plan small trips, nothing performative. Mike and I fish off a pier like dads who forgot to bring kids. Sundays I call my mother because good men make habits. I don't check my ex's life. Someone always tries to tell me. I always let it slide by. People think leaving is the hard part. It isn't. The hard part is doing it clean. No shouting, no scoreboards, no campaign. Just a calm hand removing your name from a room where it's been used as a punchline. I still hear her sentence sometimes. It'll be more interesting there. She was right, for her. It wasn't for me. I made my own kind of interesting. There's a memory I carry from that alumni dinner. The way the server looked at me when I signed the check. Quick, neutral, professional. Like a man doing his job. That's what I did. I did my job for the marriage as long as it was a partnership. When it turned into a show, I paid and left. Last week, I drove past the old street. The Ellisons were out front, kids chalking the pavement. Jake lifted a hand. I lifted mine. No bitterness, just distance. My old house had different curtains. A woman I didn't know was watering plants on the porch. Life moves. Good. I don't know my ex's speech. I don't know the world of thesis. But if someone asked what I learned, I'd say this. If a person wants freedom, give it to them. If they want a stage, walk off. If they want to rewrite the history, let them write alone. Respect yourself like you wish they would. That's the quiet rule men forget. The last time my ex and I spoke was at the title office when the house sale closed. She looked at me with a softer face than I'd seen in years. You look happy, she said. I am simple these days, I replied. I wish I'd, she started. Don't. I picked up the pen case and handed it to the clerk. You'll be okay. You always land. She swallowed. Do you hate me? No, I said. Hate is still a kind of tie. I thanked the clerk, pressed my copy of the documents flat, and headed for the door. She called my name. I turned. What? She tried to smile. You always paid the check. And I always left a tip, I said. Take care. I stepped into the sunlight. My truck was right where I left it, clean and ready. Somewhere behind me, a woman was learning what a boundary sounds like when it doesn't move. Somewhere ahead of me, a life waited that didn't require me to be interesting enough for someone else's circle. I got in, started the engine, and pulled into traffic. I didn't check the rear view to see if she was watching.